Imagine you spent the whole episode trying to convince everyone that the town isn't cursed, that there's a logical explanation for the fog, that what happened with the white-eyed fisherman was just an accident. And then someone dares you to spend a night in a haunted hotel, and you accept because you're the mayor and you don't have a choice. This is episode 2 of Widow's Bay, and it's even better than the first one. A quick warning before we start. From here on out, there are full spoilers for episode 2. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it first. This episode has details you won't want to know before watching. This mess starts in the middle of the night with the church bell ringing. But here's the thing. That bell has been chained up for years. It's impossible for anyone to have rioted. Tom thinks it was his son Evan and his friends messing around. Reverend Bryce goes up to the tower, sees the chains are still intact, and stays quiet. And pay attention to this important detail. It's not fear, it's recognition. Like, he knows exactly what that means. And the show starts the episode by telling you that something new has entered the scene. In the first episode, it was the fog. In the second episode, the island wakes up in a different way. The next morning, Tom is in a really good mood. The New York Times article came out. Arthur called Widow's Bay the new Martha's Vineyard. Tom's dream is about to come true. The tourists are arriving this weekend. Tom hands out flyers around town, congratulates the cafe owner on the new coffee machine, and for the first time, it seems like everything is going to work out. That's the episode's trap. Widow's Bay lets you breathe for 2 minutes before tightening the noose, because then Wick shows up, nailing boards to the hotel door, drunk, furious, shouting that the place isn't safe for anyone to sleep in. Tom tries to handle the situation, the sheriff tries to handle it, and at some point Tom loses his patience and calls Wick a hick and ignoramus right in front of everyone. Wick is arrested, and when the sheriff kicks him out, Kurt pulls on the door to go in and the board falls off. Wick had nailed the wood to the outside wall without actually blocking anything. The dramatic gesture was completely useless, and that is, at the same time, the funniest and saddest scene of the episode. Think about it with me. Wick knows everything. He's aware of every threat on the island, and the only resource he has is a poorly nailed board on a door. He doesn't have any real power. Just a heads up, the locals don't forget an insult. That night, when Tom goes to get food at the South Whale, a group confronts him, not with anger, but with a challenge. If you think the hotel's safe, spend the night there, in the captain's room, alone, and finish the list. Take a look at this scene. Tom could have refused, could have dodged the challenge, changed the subject, or promised to look into it, but he accepts it right away. And that says everything about him. Tom can't back down in public. He'd rather face a potentially haunted hotel than look like a coward in front of the locals. But there's a deeper layer here. Tom's father was an alcoholic who spent summers on the island calling his son weak, soft, a coward. Tom grew up carrying that with him. And when Wick uses that exact word, Tom doesn't hear an eccentric local, he hears his father. And that changes everything. The decision to spend the night in the hotel stops being political. It becomes an old psychological need that the island has found and is using against him. And there's still another layer. Tom's father used to tell scary stories about Widow's Bay when he was drunk. Tom was 6 years old. Those stories were planted inside him during the most traumatic moments of his childhood, mixed with fear, with abandonment, which means the island's mythology didn't reach Tom as neutral folklore. It came through his father's voice, the man who humiliated him. The island didn't need to teach Tom to be afraid. It was already there, buried in his most painful memory. And there's something the episode plants even before Tom enters the hotel, something almost no one mentioned. When he leaves South Whale after accepting the challenge, a resident named Lonnie quietly pulls him aside and tells him not to do it. He doesn't shout, he doesn't make a scene like Wick. He speaks quietly, it's not worth it. And Tom ignores him, but this detail matters because Lonnie isn't the town alarmist. He's just an ordinary resident, and even he knows that hotel is way too dangerous. The to-do list the residents put together is one of the best ideas in the series. Each task brings to mind one of the dead or killers who lived in that hotel throughout its history. The captain who went insane and killed his own family with an axe, whose name was given to a suite. Hortense Fitzgerald, who ran away from her own marriage and became the local Bloody Mary. If you say her name 3 times in front of the mirror, she appears behind you, the killer clown. And crawl into the crawl space in the basement. And here's something most people overlook. Hortense Fitzgerald wasn't a monster. She was a woman who tried to escape an engagement on the island, and Widow's Bay turned her into a horror legend, as if the island punishes anyone who tries to reject what it imposes. Those who run away become ghosts. Those who stay become prisoners. But the series hides that right in front of us. On the shelf in the room, there's a deck of cards called Run. Tom draws card after card, and each one says the same thing, not yet, until he draws one that says run and he ignores it. He goes to the basement. The hotel was warning him in the most direct way possible, and he didn't listen. And on that same shelf, there was a tooth extractor, an old surgical tool for pulling teeth, just sitting on a hotel shelf. That alone would already be strange. But then you remember, in the first episode, teeth were already found on the island as evidence of something buried. The hotel's full of the same symbolism. Body, tooth, some pulled out, something left behind. The island repeats that pattern, and almost no one notices. Before getting to the basement, there's something else that happens really quickly. The TV in the room only has one channel. An old man giving a sightseeing tour of Widow's Bay. Tom changes the channel. It's the same man. He changes it again. Same man. The island controls what Tom sees. And then comes something I had to pause to process. The room has voices coming out of the walls. A New Year's countdown, people celebrating, and then screams, followed by a police siren. The show plants a specific historical event in that hotel. Something happened at the turn of 1962 that ended in tragedy. It never explains what it was. Widow's Bay doesn't drop specific dates by accident. When the series ends and someone goes back to watch it all from the beginning, that date is going to mean something. And when the TV finally stops working, Tom steps out into the hallway and runs into William. William shows up in the hallway like he's just another guest. Friendly, calm, in a good mood. The two of them have a drink, play a board game, and talk about life. Tom opens up, talks about his father, about the island, about everything he'd never told anyone on the show until now. And William listens, validates him, says that says that the people in town don't deserve him. And this is where the show delivers one of its most disturbing details. The board game they play is called Daddy's Home. Daddy's Home. The island put Tom alone for a night, gave him a man who listens to him and validates him the way his father never did. And the name of the game is exactly about that. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a choice. The island knows Tom better than Tom knows himself. And the important detail is right here. The hotel has an honor system where guests record what they take from the minibar. The hotel's system voice keeps calling Tom by name so he'll sign the log. William drinks all night. He's never called, never signs. The hotel knew William wasn't a guest, and anyone who pauses the episode at this scene will realize the show had already given the answer before the cameras were even needed. Check this out, it's wild. His name was already on the to-do list the locals gave Tom, still unchecked. The show put the killer clown's name right in front of the viewer before the reveal. And there's more. During the Daddy's Home game, William says he's now in the basement, predicting exactly what's about to happen in the crawlspace. The island didn't just create William for Tom, it was loudly warning him. Tom's the one who didn't want to listen. But before heading to the basement, William breaks for a bathroom stop. In the middle of a sentence, he goes off on a strange monologue about the mindset of the island's residents, gets agitated, and then pulls himself together like nothing happened. It's the only moment when William's friendly mask slips. And if William was a manifestation of the island, that moment could be the island losing control for a few seconds. The show doesn't explain it, but it doesn't seem like an accident. With the courage borrowed from alcohol, Tom goes back down to the basement and crawls into the crawl space, and everything seems normal for about 30 seconds. And the worst part isn't the clown itself, it's what comes before. William blocking the only exit, calm, using Tom's claustrophobia against him in a calculated way. The fear there is psychological before it's visual. Only now William has his face painted like a clown, crawling on the floor, getting closer to Tom, and Tom looks ahead and sees a rotting body at the end of the crawl space wearing the same shirt Tom is wearing. And here the show is doing exactly what The Shining does. Not because there's a haunted hotel, not because there's a guest who doesn't exist. It's The Shining, because the logic is the same. The place chose this specific man and used what he carries inside to destroy him from the outside. In Kubrick's version, the hotel chose Jack because he was already broken. Here, the question's even crueler. Is the hotel breaking Tom, or is it revealing what was already there? Tom wakes up in the room. Was it a dream, or was it? In the morning, a sheriff arrives, along with Kurt, the hotel owner, and Wick. They check the security cameras, and the footage shows Tom playing the board game alone, talking to no one, laughing at nothing. William never appeared on the cameras. Tom was completely alone the whole night. William doesn't need to say anything. His smile says it all, but the episode doesn't end there. William dares Kurt to go into the captain's room. Kurt goes in, closes the door, and comes out 30 seconds later. Only when he comes out, it looks like he spent hours in there. The room is completely destroyed, and there's black mold on the walls where there was nothing before he went in for those 30 seconds. Time inside the captain's room doesn't work the same as time outside. And then you remember the underground chair from the first episode. If time gets distorted in certain parts of the island, whoever was locked down there might still be awake, trapped in a loop, with no idea how much time has passed. And look at Kurt. The hotel owner doesn't sleep in his own hotel. He goes home every night. The man who bought that place, who insists on keeping it open, who defends the establishment's reputation in front of everyone, can't spend a single night inside. Kurt knows something he's not telling. And when he goes into the captain's room for 30 seconds and comes out wrecked, the show confirms that his knowledge isn't just theoretical. While all this is happening at the hotel, Reverend Bryce is at the church, buried in old papers. He found a letter left by a previous reverend that describes the drastic measures that must be taken if the bell rings. The show doesn't reveal what's written, it only shows Bryce's expression, and it's not a calm one. He's not like Wick. Wick yells, warns, confronts. Bryce watches in silence. He has the same information as Wick, maybe even more, but he processes it internally. And when someone who should have the answers starts to look just as lost as everyone else, you realize the problem's bigger than anyone's willing to admit. If there's a written protocol for when the bell rings, that means this has happened before. It's not just a theoretical precaution, it's a survival manual based on real experience. Now, let me talk about 3 characters that the episode is developing right in front of us, and most people are ignoring. The first is Patricia. She appears in both episodes, constantly being interrupted and ignored. In the first episode, she tried to show Arthur her paintings and Tom brushed her off. In the second episode, her poem was removed from the pamphlet without any warning. She mentions it and Tom tells her to focus on the positive. Patricia is by Tom's side all the time. She sees everything he sees, and yet she's treated as if she's invisible. But notice how she reacts to every strange thing that happens, not with fear, but with a disturbing calm. Someone who truly didn't know anything would react differently. Patricia might be the character the show is hiding in plain sight. The second is Wick. Reverend Bryce asks Tom to have empathy because Wick has been through some tough times in recent years. The show doesn't explain what happened, but if you add that to the fact that Wick knows every ghost on the island by name, knows exactly what the clown does, knows the phases of the fog, and knows about the natural question is, how's he know all that? Wick doesn't seem like someone who read about those things. He seems like someone who lived them. Whatever happened to him in recent years might be the key to everything the show's building. The third is Evan, Tom's son, who was born on the island. In the second episode, Tom tries to call Evan during the night at the hotel. Evan never answers, and Tom is so busy trying to save the city that he doesn't realize he might be losing his son. If the curse of those born on the island is real, Evan is the most vulnerable person in the whole series, and the island seems to know it. And there's one more detail that connects everything in a way the show hasn't said out loud yet. Widow means viuda in English. The island was named after the women who waited for husbands who never returned from the sea. Tom lost his wife, he's a widower, and he went to live on an island called Widow's Bay. The show hasn't pointed this out directly yet, but it's impossible for it to be just a coincidence. The island might have a specific connection to mourning and loss, and Tom might be there not just as the mayor, but as someone the island recognizes and claims as its own. And then Tom leaves the hotel in the morning, Patricia goes to find him, and Tom looks at her and says everything was fine, that nothing happened, making it the scariest moment of the whole episode. Not the clown, not the body, not the room destroyed in 30 seconds. It's Tom choosing to lie. Not rationalize like before, but to lie. Before, he denied the supernatural because he truly didn't believe in it. Now he saw it and still chooses to hide it. The island found something in Tom that's stronger than fear, the fear of appearing weak, and it's using that against him, episode after episode. And now the 3 theories, because this episode doesn't close, it opens up. The first is that William wasn't just any ghost. He was a manifestation created specifically for Tom. The island shows the form of a friendly, reasonable man because it knew Tom would never open up to a Wick, would never open up to a scary stranger, but he did open up to someone who seemed like the father he never had. The game Dad's Home wasn't on the shelf by accident. And if every apparition in Widow's Bay is personalized for whoever's present, what is the island going to create specifically for the tourists who arrive over the weekend? And if that's true, it ties directly into the second theory. The second one is about the time distortion in the captain's room and its connection to the underground chair from the first episode. If time doesn't work the same way in certain parts of the island, that chair deep underground could be in a space where hours and years mean nothing. Which means that whoever was locked up there might still be there, awake, waiting, with no idea how much time has passed outside. And then, if you connect this with the third theory, things get even more disturbing. The third one is about the position of mayor. Nobody wanted the job. Tom won unopposed. The show hints that Wick might have been the mayor before and that something happened. If the island has its own immune system, the mayor's exactly the kind of threat that system would reject the most, because the mayor's the one with the power to change the place. And Widow's Bay doesn't want to be changed. The show keeps getting better with every episode. First episode opened up the world. The second episode dove deeper into the main character in a way that changes how you'll see everything that comes after. Tom is no longer just a stubborn skeptic, he's a man with specific wounds that the island is learning how to use. And the more he tries to prove he's not afraid, the deeper he falls. So which of the three theories do you think is the strongest? Was William created specifically for Tom? Does the time distortion connect to the underground chair? Or is being the mayor of Widow's Bay the most dangerous position on the island? Comment down below, because this show is planning way too many things for it to be just a coincidence. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. This is Guy Santos, and I'll see you in the next video.